Leaving isn't the moment of decision. Leaving is the 1,000 small moments after, the ones where you keep the decision. Today, I want to share a winter with you. I lived this story in late 2020 into 2021. What I can offer is the texture of it, what keeping a promise to yourself might actually look like in the middle of love, in the middle of winter, and for me, in the middle of a pandemic. This isn't advice. It's a report from someone who has stood where you may be standing. Now, I need to set this up because the story doesn't make sense without a paragraph or two of context. My then husband was in and out of substance use and recovery. We had been through the cycle many times. The disappearances, the treatment centers, the long stretches of hoping he'd eventually choose himself. I had stayed through all of it. In the fall of 2019, when he was sober, I made a promise in daylight. If there was a next relapse, I would not be getting back on the merry-go-round with him. He took me seriously, and I believed myself. And I also knew that if the time ever came, it would break something in me to keep that promise. So by late summer of 2020, I started noticing small shifts, the one your body recognizes before your mind wants to admit it. If you've loved someone in recovery, you know the particular strange position of being their partner. You have to trust them. You have to show them trust. But you also have to stay honest with your own eyes, aware, mindful, noticing what you're actually seeing, caring, but not accusing. And as winter drew near, it wasn't suspicion anymore. It was the quiet knowledge you don't want to have, but cannot unknow. On December 8th, I looked for what I already knew. I found enough, not the details, just the truth. And something in me went still in the uncomfortable familiarity. I remembered the promise. I put a few things I found on the dining room table and waited for him to come home. When he walked in, there was a moment, 5 seconds maybe, where everything in the room held its breath. And then came the denial. The familiar kind, the kind that tells you exactly where someone is without them ever saying it. And something in me shut like a door, quietly, cleanly, without anger. I had crossed a threshold. I told him he had to go. I had already packed his bag. I didn't want space to wobble. He left angry. He came back once more for things that evening, and in the driveway, in the cold, I watched him slip under in a way I had not witnessed before and never wanted to see again. I stood there for 10 minutes, terrified, angry, tender, furious, all at one time. The interior of loving someone who is harming themselves. And underneath all of it, a quiet, exhausted knowing I could not keep living like this and stay whole. If you've ever had to choose your own wholeness over someone else's crisis, you know how disorienting and necessary that moment is. Later that night, a friend called to say he collapsed in their driveway and had been taken to the hospital. And what surprised me was the clarity. Not relief, not blame, just the truth. I could not save him from himself, and going to him wouldn't save either of us. That was the first small moment after the decision, the first time I kept my promise. The weeks after were a lot. A broken toe because I wasn't fully in my body. A sudden loss of a cat, my Charlie girl. Life doesn't stop because you're rearranging yourself. Then on Christmas Eve, a friend left paints on my doorstep. I had never painted before in my life, but that winter I painted a lot. Painting didn't heal anything, but it gave my hands something to do and my mind something to rest on. It broke the loop. It kept me inside the decision. It kept me from going back. If you're in something hard right now, whatever steadies your mind and interrupts the loop is not trivial. It counts. It was also the winter when my awareness, my intuition, all of it was sharpening in ways I was just beginning to understand. That winter was one of the first times I realized my intuition and my survival were speaking the same language. He came back once more that season, and in the conversation that followed, something familiar landed in a way that finally made sense. And something in me locked into place. Not hardness, not anger, just certainty. I knew without question that the decision I made was the right one. Leaving isn't the moment of decision. Leaving is the 1,000 small moments after. It's the 10 minutes in the driveway. It's not going to the hospital. It's the broken toe. It's the dead cat. It's the paint on the canvas at 2 a.m. because you can't sleep. It's the moment when something familiar lands and you finally believe yourself. The promise you make to yourself when you're strong is the one that has to carry you when you're not. And you can love somebody completely with every year and every hope and memory you've put into them and still be the person who stops saving them. Those two things are allowed to be true at the same time. If you're watching this and you're about to keep a promise you've made to yourself, or you've already kept one and you're quietly doubting it now, or you're loving someone who needs to keep theirs, I see you. If you want to share something in the comments, a promise you once said to yourself and then kept, I'd love to hear it. Only what you want to share, nothing more than that. I'm going to read them. Know yourself. Own your knowing. Trust your good work. That's the whole spell.